Have you ever stopped to think about what truly runs the world? Is it governments, big corporations, or maybe something more invisible, more pervasive? The answer might surprise you. It's debt. Yes, that simple concept of owing someone something is the invisible hand that quietly shapes our modern world. From the phone in your hand to the house you live in, let's unravel how this powerful force works. It all starts with something called fractional reserve banking. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. When you deposit money in a bank, the bank doesn't just keep it locked in a vault. It's required to hold only a fraction of that deposit, say 10%. The rest, it loans it out. So, if you deposit $1,000, the bank keeps $100 and lends out $900. But here's the magic trick. That $900 doesn't just vanish. It gets deposited into another bank account by the person who borrowed it. Now, that second bank keeps $90 and lends out $810. This process repeats over and over again. Your initial $1,000 has now created much more money in the system. All of it in the form of debt. Essentially, most of the money in our economy isn't printed by the government. It's created by commercial banks every time they issue a loan. Money is literally born from debt. This system fuels economic growth. It allows people to buy homes they couldn't afford outright, students to get an education, and entrepreneurs to start businesses. Without the ability to borrow, our economies would grind to a halt. Think about it. Major infrastructure projects like highways, bridges, and power grids are almost always financed through debt. Corporations use debt to expand, innovate, and create jobs. On a personal level, mortgages and car loans are standard parts of modern life. In many ways, debt is the lubricant that keeps the engine of capitalism running smoothly. It allows us to pull future prosperity into the present. But this system has a dark side. Because money is created as debt, and debt always comes with interest, we have a system that demands constant growth. We collectively owe more money than actually exists in the first place. The only way to pay back the principal plus the interest is to create even more debt, to inject more money into the system. It's like a global treadmill we can never get off of. This relentless need for growth puts immense pressure on our planet's resources and can lead to unsustainable practices. The system demands that we consume more, produce more, and borrow more, year after year, just to keep it all from collapsing. This dynamic also creates cycles of booms and busts. When credit is cheap and easy to get, everyone borrows. Asset prices, like stocks and real estate, get inflated, creating an economic boom. But eventually, the debt burden becomes too heavy. People and companies struggle to make their payments, defaults start to rise, and banks become more cautious, tightening their lending. This cuts off the supply of new money, causing the economy to contract, leading to a recession or even a depression. We saw this play out dramatically in the 2008 financial crisis, which was triggered by a collapse in the housing market fueled by risky subprime mortgage debt. Now let's scale this up to the national level. Governments, just like individuals and companies, run on debt. When a government spends more than it collects in taxes, it issues bonds. These bonds are essentially IOUs that are bought by investors, other countries, and even its own central bank. This is what we call the national debt. For major economies like the United States, Japan, and many European nations, this debt runs into the trillions. Who holds this debt? A mix of domestic and foreign entities. For the U.S., a large portion is held by its own citizens and institutions, like pension funds, but a significant chunk is also held by foreign governments, with countries like Japan and China being major creditors. This creates a complex web of global interdependence. A country that owes a lot of money to another is, to some extent, beholden to it. This can influence foreign policy, trade negotiations, and global power dynamics in subtle but powerful ways. The U.S. dollar's status as the world's primary reserve currency gives it a unique advantage, as there's always a global demand for its debt. But this reliance isn't without its risks. This global debt system creates a hidden power structure. Institutions like the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and the World Bank play a crucial role. They provide loans to countries facing economic crises, but these loans come with strings attached, often requiring countries to adopt specific economic policies, like cutting public spending, privatizing state-owned industries, and opening up their markets. Critics argue that these conditions, known as structural adjustment programs, can undermine a nation's sovereignty and often harm the poorest citizens, who rely on public services. The lender, in this case, gets to dictate the economic policy of the borrower. exerting immense control without ever firing a shot. So, what does this mean for you, the individual? You are born into this system. From student loans to mortgages, credit card balances, and car payments, debt is a central part of most people's financial lives. It can be a powerful tool, enabling you to build wealth and achieve your goals. But it can also be a trap. High-interest consumer debt can be crippling, creating a cycle of stress and financial hardship. The pressure to keep up with the Joneses often means taking on more debt than we can handle, making us financially fragile and vulnerable to economic shocks. We become cogs in the machine, working to pay off debts that fuel the very system that demands our constant labor. Is there a way out? On a systemic level, it's incredibly complex. Ideas range from debt jubilees of mass forgiveness of debts to fundamental reforms of our monetary system, like moving away from debt-based currency. But these are radical ideas with huge, unpredictable consequences. On a personal level, however, the path is clearer. Financial education, understanding how debt works, learning to distinguish between good debt that builds assets and bad debt that drains your wealth, and practicing responsible borrowing are your best defenses. Living within your means, saving, and investing wisely are timeless principles that offer a degree of freedom from the pressures of the debt cycle. Debt is not inherently evil. It's a tool, and like any tool, it can be used to build or to destroy. It has financed hospitals and schools, but it has also fueled speculative bubbles and crises. It has allowed nations to prosper, but it has also created a system of control and dependency. The world we live in today is, in large part, a world built on promises that promise to pay back what we owe. Understanding this fundamental truth is the first step to navigating the complexities of modern life and taking control of your own financial destiny. Thank you for watching. If this video made you think, please give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the systems that shape our world. See you next time.